as we expected was going to happen, we're going to start seeing a series of judicial rulings in what I call the post-Dobbs world, which is where we live right now. This is after the Supreme Court decision saying that Roe versus Wade was no longer the law of the land. There would start to be decisions being taken in state courts.
In Idaho, the Department of Justice actually sued Idaho, saying that, the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act trumped their trigger law.
That's what the judge said. He said, this court is not grappling with the larger, more profound question. Rather, the court is called upon to address a far more modest issue, whether Idaho's criminal abortion statute conflicts with a small but important corner of federal legislation. And he says it does. Now, the federal legislation they're talking about, Cece, is the Emergency Act.
Yeah,
so
right.
Explain that to people, what we're talking about there.
What's amazing, too, is we see this abortion distortion even in this judge's opinion from Idaho when he's saying, he's basically quoting the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act of when, you have to provide this emergency medical treatment on patients, but in the definitions of the act itself, it says placing the health of the individual and with respect to a pregnant woman, the health of the woman or her unborn child in serious jeopardy. So even the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act itself acknowledges the life of the unborn child and that the doctor must take action to prevent serious jeopardy to that unborn child's life. But the judge mysteriously leaves that part out of his opinion.
So this was a very narrow defeat, if you want to call it that. Probably goes on to the Court of Appeals, likely. But I think what we have to establish here, Logan, is that we are now seeing that the abortion issue is going state to state. And it's going to be in states that are conservative, too.
And so what has happened since Dobbs is the work that the ACLJ does in protecting life has quadrupled. I mean, maybe more than quadrupled, because we have to look at, we filed in this Idaho case, and we'll file when they appeal again. So we are watching every single court case that is dealing with the issue of life. We're watching every single, like you said, ballot initiative. We're talking to legislatures.
Some states you have a conservative populace and conservative state government, but the Supreme Court, because of the way they're appointed, of those states could be very liberal. We've seen that in a number of states already.
Don't just assume that you live in a red state, you have, a conservative legislature. You might not have a conservative judiciary. And that's where a lot of these cases are going, and that's who's making these decisions at this time.
There was laws in most states that if there was a vehicular homicide, let's say, and the woman was pregnant, that it would be 2 charges, the mother and the unborn child. Some states had what they call quickening, which was determining at what stage of the pregnancy it had to be at. But regardless, now the framework of Roe versus Wade is gone. So there is no federal constitutional right to abortion. So it now returns to the states. Remember we said if Roe gets overturned, it simply returns it to the states. Well, simply means in this particular case, a lot of activity in these various states because states are nuanced and different in their laws.
Yes, we know that if you took the life of a pregnant woman, you were charged with 2 deaths. But then we have the abortion distortion spin. Yes, it's a baby in every situation unless it's an abortion. And then suddenly it's not a baby.
Jordan and I were on the phone with the Attorney General for South Dakota just the other day going over some proposals they have coming because, Logan, like you said, in that state, Planned Parenthood and others are pushing for a constitutional amendment to have abortion recognized in their state constitution. So we're having to do this state by state. But I'm going to tell you, Idaho, South Dakota, of course, Texas, we are fully engaged. The resources of the ACLJ are being deployed to fight these on a state-by-state level. And it is important that the Dobbs club of Roe versus Wade is now removed from this process.